Zara stood at the edge of the crystal balcony, watching the twin suns set over her home planet of Altara. The sky turned a brilliant shade of purple, just like the color her skin used to glow when she was happy as a child. But now, her crystalline skin barely flickered with any light at all. The doctors had just given her news that would change everything. The medical center on Altara was unlike anything on Earth. The walls were made of living crystal that pulsed with soft blue light, and the floors hummed with energy that helped heal patients. Zara had come here hoping for good news, but instead, she got the worst possible result. Dr. Keth, her family physician, had explained her condition in simple terms. Her body couldn't produce the special cells needed to create new life. World, this was more than just a personal problem. It was a disaster that affected their entire species. The people of Altara were slowly disappearing, and every new birth was precious. Your fertility markers are completely inactive, Dr. Keth had said, his own skin turning a sad gray color.
Oh, I'm sorry, Zara.
There's nothing our current medicine can do to fix this. Zara remembered walking home that day, feeling like she was moving through a dream. Other Altarians she passed on the street could tell something was wrong just by looking at her. Her skin had turned a dull, lifeless color that everyone recognized as the sign of someone who couldn't contribute to their species' survival. Her mother, Lyra, was waiting for her at home. The moment Zara walked through the door, Lyra's skin shifted from its usual warm golden color to deep blue with worry. She didn't need to ask what had happened. She could see it written all over her daughter's face. The test results. Lyra asked softly, though she already knew the answer. Zara just nodded, unable to speak. Yes. She collapsed onto their favorite sitting crystal, which normally would have glowed brighter in response to her touch. Instead, it remained dim and cold. The next few days were the hardest of Zara's life. Word spread quickly through their community. In Altarian society, those who couldn't reproduce were gently pushed to the edges of social life. It wasn't meant to be cruel, but their species was dying out. Everyone who could help save them was considered precious. Friends stopped visiting. Invitations to gatherings became rare. Even her job at the Crystal Gardens became uncomfortable. As her coworkers didn't know how to act around her anymore, Zara felt like she was becoming invisible in her own world. But Dr. Keth hadn't given up on her completely. A week after the diagnosis, he called her back to the medical center. This time, he seemed excited, his skin flickering with tiny sparks of yellow light. I've been talking to some researchers, he said, pulling up a holographic display. They've been studying other species in our galaxy, particularly a young race called humans. Zara had heard of humans before, but only briefly. They were a relatively new species that had just started exploring space. Most Altarians didn't pay much attention to them because they seemed so primitive compared to their advanced civilization. What do humans have to do with me? Zara asked, confused. Dr. Keth expanded. The hologram, showing images of human biology. Their reproductive systems are incredibly adaptable. They can survive in almost any environment, and their genetic structure is remarkably flexible. Some of our scientists think that certain compounds found in human biology might be able to restart inactive fertility systems in other species. Zara stared at the display, not daring to hope. You mean there might be a way to fix me? It's experimental, Dr. Keth warned. No one has ever tried this before. The research is happening on a space station near their planet, and it would mean leaving Altera for months, maybe longer. There's no guarantee it will work, and there could be risks we don't understand yet. For the first time since her diagnosis, Zara felt a tiny spark of hope. Her skin began to show the faintest glimmer of light. She thought about her life on Altara, how she was slowly becoming an outcast, through no fault of her own. She thought about the possibility of never having a family, never contributing to her species' survival. I want to try, she said firmly. Whatever the risks are, I want to try. Dr. Keth smiled, his skin brightening. I was hoping you'd say that. The research team is looking for volunteers, and your specific condition makes you an ideal candidate. But Zara, you need to understand that this is completely uncharted territory. We don't know what kind of effects human biology might have on our species. Zara nodded. She understood the risks, but she also understood that doing nothing meant accepting a life of isolation and sadness. At least this way, she had a chance that night. She sat with her mother under the stars, both of them glowing softly in the darkness. Lyra was scared about her daughter leaving for such a dangerous experiment, but she also knew that Zara needed hope to survive. The humans, Lyra said thoughtfully. They're so different from us. Are you sure about this? Zara looked up at the stars, knowing that somewhere among them was a blue planet where a species she'd never met might hold the key to her future. I have to try, Mother. If I don't, I'll spend the rest of my life wondering what might have been. 2 weeks later, Zara stood in the departure bay of their spaceport holding a small bag of personal items. The ship that would take her to the research station was sleek and fast. Designed for long-distance travel between worlds, Dr. Keth had given her detailed information about the research project and the team she would be working with as her ship lifted off from Altara. Zara pressed her face to the window and watched her home world grow smaller and smaller. Her skin was glowing with a mixture of fear and excitement, creating patterns she'd never seen before. She was terrified of what lay ahead, but for the first time in weeks, she felt alive. The journey to the research station would take several days, giving her time to study the files about human biology and the experimental treatment. As she read, she realized just how different humans were from her people. They were shorter-lived but incredibly resilient. Their emotions were intense and constantly changing. Most importantly, their reproductive systems were remarkably hardy and adaptable. Zara closed her eyes and tried to imagine what it would be like to meet a human face to face. Would they be able to help her? Could their biology really hold the answer to her problems? She didn't know, but she was about to find out. The research station was nothing like Zara had imagined. Instead of the beautiful crystal structures of her home world, everything here was made of metal and glass. The walls were stark white, and the lighting was harsh and artificial. Surprised her most was how small everything seemed. The hallways were built for beings much shorter than her people. When the transport ship docked, Zara felt her heart racing. Her skin flickered with nervous energy, creating swirling patterns of blue and silver. She had never been so far from home. She had certainly never met a human before. Dr. Vex, the lead researcher from her planet, was waiting for her at the docking bay. His skin was glowing with excitement, something she hadn't seen from him. During their brief meetings on Altera, "Welcome to Station Alpha," he said, his voice echoing in the metal corridor. "The human research team is eager to meet you. They've been studying our biology for months, preparing for this moment." As they walked through the station, Zara noticed how different the air felt. It was thinner than on Altara, and it carried strange smells she couldn't identify. Everything felt foreign and slightly uncomfortable. "Are you nervous?" Dr. Vex asked, noticing how her skin kept changing colors. Terrified, Zara admitted. "What if this doesn't work? What if I've come all this way for nothing?" "Then at least you tried," he replied gently. "That's more than most people in your situation would do." They stopped outside a large laboratory door. Through the glass window, Zara could see several figures moving around inside. Her first glimpse of humans made her gasp. They were so small compared to her people, and their skin was a solid color that never changed. How did they express their emotions without the ability to change their appearance? Dr. Vex pressed a button, and the door slid open. Inside, 3 humans turned to look at them. Zara's skin immediately shifted to a deep purple, the color her people displayed when they were overwhelmed. "How?" "Zara, I'd like you to meet the research team," Dr. Vex said. "This is Dr. Chen, our lead human scientist." The human stepped forward, and Zara was struck by how confident he seemed despite being so much smaller than her. His eyes were dark brown, and when he smiled, his whole face changed in a way that was completely foreign to her. "It's an honor to meet you, Zara," Dr. Chen said, his voice warm and friendly. "I know this must be incredibly difficult for you, leaving your home world for an experimental treatment." Zara found herself staring at his face, fascinated by how his expressions changed. "Your emotions?" she said softly. "How do you show them without changing color?" Dr. Chen laughed, and the sound was so different from the musical tones her people made when they were happy. We use our facial expressions and body language. It's actually quite complex once you get used to it. The other two humans introduced themselves as Dr. Rivera and Dr. Thompson. They all seemed genuinely excited to meet her, which helped calm her nerves slightly. Her skin began to shift from purple to a more neutral green. "Would you like to see what we've been working on?" Dr. Chen asked, leading her to a large table covered with strange equipment. For the next hour, the human scientists explained their research. They had been studying samples of Altarian biology that Dr. Vex had provided, trying to understand why some members of her species were losing their fertility. What they discovered was fascinating. "Your reproductive system is incredibly sophisticated," Dr. Rivera explained, pointing to a holographic display. "But it's also very sensitive to environmental changes. We think the fertility problems your people are experiencing might be related to stress from your declining population." "It's like a cycle," Dr. Thompson added. "The fewer children that are born, the more stressed your society becomes, which makes it even harder to have children." Zara felt a chill run through her body. Her skin turned a worried shade of blue. "So it's going to keep getting worse?" "Not necessarily," Dr. Chen said quickly. "We think we might have found a solution. Human biology is remarkably adaptable. We've discovered that certain compounds in our system can help restart dormant reproductive functions in other species." He pulled up another display, showing complex molecular structures that meant nothing to Zara. "We call these compounds biological catalysts, but the research team has nicknamed them Nectar because of their life-giving properties." "How does it work?" Zara asked, leaning forward with interest. "The process is still being developed," Dr. Chen explained. "It would involve regular treatments where you would receive synthesized versions of these compounds. The tricky part is that each species responds differently, so we need to create a personalized treatment plan for you." Dr. Vex, who had been quietly listening, stepped forward. "There's something else you should know, Zara. The treatment requires extended exposure to human biology. You would need to spend significant time with the research team, particularly Dr. Chen, since his genetic markers seem most compatible with your species." Zara looked at Dr. Chen, who was studying her with kind but professional eyes. The thought of spending months working closely with this strange, small human was both terrifying and intriguing. "What are the risks?" she asked. Dr. Chen's expression became serious. "We honestly don't know. This has never been attempted before. There could be side effects we haven't anticipated. Your body might reject the treatment, or it might work too well and cause other problems. But you think it has a chance of working?" "I think it has a very good chance," he said confidently. "Your biology is remarkably similar to ours in some key ways. If we can find the right approach, I believe we can help you." Zara felt something she hadn't experienced in weeks. Genuine hope. Her skin began to glow with a soft, warm light that made all the humans in the room smile. "I want to try," she said firmly. "Whatever the risks are, I want to try." Dr. Chen nodded. "Then we'll start tomorrow. But first, let me show you around the station. You'll be living here for the next few months, and I want you to feel as comfortable as possible." As they toured the station, Zara found herself warming up to the human scientist. He was patient with her questions and seemed genuinely interested in her culture. When she mentioned missing the crystal gardens of her homeworld, he took her to the station's observation deck, where she could see the stars. "It's not the same as your home," he said softly. "But sometimes looking at the stars helps me remember that we're all part of something bigger." Zara's skin glowed with appreciation. For the first time since leaving Altara, she felt like she might actually belong somewhere. The treatment ahead would be challenging and uncertain, but she was no longer facing it alone. That night, she settled into her new quarters. Zara thought about the strange turn her life had taken. A few weeks ago, she had been a hopeless outcast on her own world. Now she was working with an alien species, trying a treatment that could change everything. She looked out her small window at the stars, knowing that somewhere among them was her home world, where her mother was probably looking up at the same stars and thinking of her. Tomorrow, she would begin a journey that could restore her fertility and give her the future she had always dreamed of. The uncertainty was scary, but for the first time in a long time, Zara felt truly alive. The treatment began on a Tuesday morning. Zara woke up in her quarters feeling a mixture of excitement and fear that made her skin pulse with alternating colors of gold and blue. Today would be the first day of what could either save her future or prove that her journey had been for nothing. Dr. Chen was already waiting in the medical bay when she arrived. He had dark circles under his eyes, and Zara realized he had probably been up all night preparing for this moment. The dedication he showed to helping her was something she had never experienced before, even from doctors on her own world. "How are you feeling?" he asked, checking the various machines that surrounded a comfortable chair in the center of the room. "Scared," Zara admitted, her skin flickering with nervous energy, "but also hopeful. Is that strange?" "Not at all, doctor." Chen smiled. "I'd be worried if you weren't nervous. This is a big step for both of us." The treatment room had been specially designed for her comfort. The harsh white lights had been replaced with softer, warmer ones that reminded her of home. The chair could adjust to her taller frame, and there were even some crystal formations from her world that Dr. Vex had brought to help her feel more at ease. "So how does this work exactly?" Zara asked, settling into the chair. Dr. Chen pulled up a holographic display that showed her reproductive system in detail. "We're going to introduce the synthesized compounds gradually. Think of it like watering a plant that has been dormant for a long time. We need to be gentle and patient." The first treatment lasted only 30 minutes. Zara felt a warm sensation spreading through her body, like drinking hot tea on a cold day. Her skin began to glow with a soft, steady light that she hadn't seen in months. "The compounds are responding well to your biology," Dr. Chen observed, making notes on his tablet. "How do you feel?" "Different," Zara said, trying to find the right words. "Like something inside me is waking up after a long sleep." Over the next few weeks, the treatments became a regular part of Zara's day. Each session lasted a little longer, and the effects became more pronounced. Her skin began to show patterns she had never seen before, swirling combinations of colors that seemed to dance across her crystalline surface. But the most surprising change wasn't physical. Zara found herself experiencing emotions more intensely than ever before. Things that had never bothered her before now seemed overwhelming. The sound of the station's machinery, which she had gotten used to, suddenly seemed too loud. The artificial lighting made her feel restless. "Is this normal?" she asked Dr. Chen during one of their sessions. "We're not sure," he admitted. "The compounds seem to be affecting more than just your reproductive system. They're enhancing your overall sensory experience." Dr. Chen had been spending more and more time with her, not just during treatments, but throughout the day. Explained that his specific genetic markers were the most compatible with her species. So his presence seemed to help the treatment work better. "Your emotions," Zara said one day as they sat in the observation deck, watching the stars. "They're so intense. How do you manage them?" Dr. Chen looked thoughtful. "We've learned to live with them. Sometimes they make life difficult, but they also make it beautiful. Joy feels incredible when you can experience it fully." Zara's skin shifted to a warm purple, the color her people displayed when they were contemplating something important. I think I'm starting to understand. Before the treatment, I felt emotions, but they were muted.
Oh no.
Everything feels so ... alive. As the weeks passed, Zara noticed that Dr. Chen was changing too. He seemed more relaxed around her, less formal and professional. He would laugh at her observations about human behavior, and sometimes she would catch him staring at her skin patterns with fascination. "Your people are lucky," he said one evening as they worked late in the lab. "Being able to show your emotions so clearly must make communication so much easier." "Sometimes," Zara replied, "but it also means you can't hide when you're hurting." Treatment was working. Medical scans showed that her reproductive system was slowly coming back to life. The dormant cells were beginning to activate, and her hormone levels were improving steadily. But with each successful session, Zara felt herself becoming more emotionally connected to the process, to the people helping her. Dr. Rivera and Dr. Thompson had become like family to her. They would bring her small gifts from Earth's pictures, of their home world and stories about their families. But it was Dr. Chen who spent the most time with her, carefully monitoring her progress and adjusting the treatment as needed. "I've never worked with anyone quite like you," he told her one day, as they reviewed her latest test results. "Your resilience is remarkable. Most people would have given up by now." "I had good reasons to keep trying," Zara replied, her skin glowing with gratitude. One morning, about 2 months into the treatment, Zara woke up feeling different. Her skin was brighter than it had been in years, and she felt an energy coursing through her body that she had almost forgotten existed. When she arrived at the medical bay, Dr. Chen took one look at her and started running tests immediately. "The readings are incredible," he said, his excitement obvious in his voice. "Your reproductive system is showing activity levels we haven't seen since we started." Zara felt tears forming in her eyes, something that had never happened before. "The treatment? Does this mean it's working?" "It means we're on the right track," Dr. Chen said carefully. "But we need to be patient. Your body is still adjusting to the changes. The success brought new challenges." Word of Zara's progress had reached both Earth and Altera, and suddenly everyone wanted to know about the treatment. Representatives from both worlds began arriving at the station, asking questions and making demands. "They want to take you back to Altara," Dr. Vex told her one day, his skin showing the gray color of concern. "The council is excited about your progress and wants to begin the next phase of your treatment there." Zara felt a surge of panic. "But the treatment isn't finished yet. Dr. Chen said we need to continue for at least another month." "I know," Dr. Vex replied, "but they're concerned about the amount of time you're spending with the humans. They think it might be affecting you in ways we don't understand." That night, Zara sat in the observation deck, staring out at the stars. Her skin was cycling through colors rapidly, showing her inner turmoil. She had come here to restore her fertility, and the treatment was working. But she had also found something else she hadn't expected, a sense of belonging and purpose. Dr. Chen found her there. She had hoped he would. "I heard about the council's decision," he said, sitting beside her. "I'm sorry. I know this isn't what you wanted." "I'm scared," Zara admitted. "What if the treatment doesn't work without your help? What if I go back to Altara and everything goes back to the way it was?" Dr. Chen was quiet for a long moment. "The treatment has given your body what it needed to restart, even if you leave. Now, there's a good chance the effects will continue. Yeah, but you don't know for sure." "No," he said honestly. "We don't know for sure." Zara looked at him, this small human who had dedicated months of his life to helping her. She realized that somewhere along the way, he had become more than just her doctor. He had become her friend, her guide in this strange new world, and the person who had given her hope when she had none. "I don't want to leave," she said quietly. Dr. Chen's expression was sad but understanding. "I know, but your people need you, and maybe this is just the beginning of something bigger." As Zara prepared for the possibility of returning to Altara, she knew that whatever happened next, she would never be the same person who had left her home world months ago. The treatment had given her more than just the possibility of having children. It had given her a new perspective on life, on emotions, and on what it meant to connect with someone from a completely different world. 3 days after the council's message, everything changed. Zara woke up to find the entire station buzzing with activity. Ships from both Earth and Altara had arrived overnight, bringing officials who wanted to see the results of the treatment. For themselves, the first to arrive was Commander Hayes from Earth's Space Council. He was a tall, stern man who looked at Zara like she was a scientific specimen rather than a person. His questions were sharp and direct, making her skin flicker. With uncomfortable shades of gray, "How long have you been exposed to human biology?" he asked, making notes on his tablet. 3 months, Zara replied, wishing Dr. Chen was there with her. He had been called away to meetings all morning. "And you've experienced significant changes in your emotional responses?" "Yes, but that's not necessarily a bad thing," Zara said. Her skin showing defensive patterns of red and orange, Commander Hayes frowned. "That's exactly what we're concerned about. We need to understand if these changes are permanent and what they might mean for future treatments." Next came the delegation. from Altara. Elder Nix, the head of the Reproductive Council, arrived with two other officials. Their skin was glowing with excitement, but Zara could see the worry underneath. "Child," Elder Nix said, her voice carrying the musical tones of their people, "you look so different. Are you well?" Zara's skin brightened at hearing her native language. "I'm better than I've been in years. The treatment is working." "We can see that," Elder Nix replied, studying Zara's vibrant skin patterns. "But we're concerned about the extended exposure to human influence. You seem... changed." "I am changed," Zara said firmly. "I'm stronger, more aware, more alive than I've ever been." The elder's skin shifted to a cautious yellow. "That's what worries us. We need you to return to Altara immediately. Our doctors can continue the treatment there without the complications of human involvement." Dr. Chen finally arrived, looking tired and frustrated. Behind him came Dr. Rivera and Dr. Thompson, both of whom seemed equally stressed. "The treatment isn't finished," Dr. Chen said to the assembled officials. "Zara's progress is excellent, but stopping now could reverse everything we've achieved." Commander Hayes crossed his arms. "Dr. Chen, we need to discuss the ethical implications of your research. Extended exposure to alien biology could have unforeseen consequences for both species. The only consequence I see is that we're helping someone who needed help." Dr. Chen replied, his voice tight with controlled anger. Elder Nix stepped forward. "Doctor, we appreciate what you've done for Zara, but she belongs with her own people. We have facilities on Altara that can provide the final stages of treatment. Without the human compounds that made the treatment possible in the first place," Dr. Chen challenged. The room fell silent. Zara could feel the tension building between the two groups, and her skin began cycling through rapid color changes that reflected her inner turmoil. "What does Zara want?" Dr. Rivera asked quietly. Everyone turned to look at her. Zara felt the weight of their expectations, their fears, and their hopes all pressing down on her at once. Her skin was now shifting so rapidly between colors that it was almost painful to watch. "I want to finish the treatment," she said finally. "I want to complete what we started." Elder Nix's skin showed disappointment. "Child, think about your duty to your people. Your species needs you." "I know," Zara replied. But I also need to make sure this treatment actually works. If I leave now and it fails, I'll have wasted everyone's time and effort." Over the next few days, negotiations continued. Representatives from both worlds argued about protocols, procedures, and politics, while Zara found herself caught in the middle. The stress was affecting her treatment progress, and Dr. Chen was clearly worried. "The arguing is making your body react negatively to the compounds," he told her during one of their sessions. "Your stress levels are interfering with the healing process." "I don't know what to do," Zara admitted. "Everyone wants something different from me." Dr. Chen sat down beside her, something he had started doing more often lately. "What do you want, Zara? Not what your people want, not what my people want. What do you want?" Zara looked at him, this human who had become so important to her recovery. "I want to make sure this treatment works so that other people like me can be helped. I want to finish what we started together." "Then that's what we'll do," Dr. Chen said with determination. But their conversation was interrupted by an emergency alert. Dr. Thompson burst into the room, his face pale with excitement. "The latest test results are in," he said breathlessly. "Zara, you need to see this." They rushed to the main lab where Dr. Rivera was staring at a holographic display of Zara's latest scans. Her reproductive system was not only active, but showing signs of enhanced function beyond normal Altarian levels. "This is incredible," Dr. Rivera said. "The treatment hasn't just restored your fertility, it's actually improved it." Zara stared at the display, her skin glowing with amazement. "What does that mean?" "It means you're not just capable of reproduction," Dr. Chen explained. "Your system is now more robust and adaptable than it was before your condition developed." Elder Nix, who had been watching from the corner, stepped forward. Her skin was showing patterns of awe and concern. "This is beyond what we hoped for. But it also raises new questions about the long-term effects of human treatment." Commander Hayes was equally surprised. This level of enhancement suggests that the treatment is causing fundamental changes to Altarian biology. We need to study this more carefully. No, Zara said firmly, her skin blazing with determined gold. Not a test subject anymore. I'm a person who needed help, and I got it. The treatment worked. Dr. Chen stepped closer to her. She's been incredibly patient with all of us, but she deserves to make her own choices about her future. And what choice is that? Tailor Nix asked. Zara looked around the room at all the people who had become part of her journey. The humans who had saved her, and the Altarians who wanted to protect her. She realized that her decision would affect not just her own future, but the future of both species. I choose to stay and help perfect the treatment, she said, so that other people from my world can be helped too. And I choose to work with the humans to make sure this process is safe and effective. Elder Nix's skin showed surprise. You want to become a bridge between our worlds? I already am a bridge, Zara replied. The treatment made me something new, something that belongs to both worlds. I want to use that to help others. Dr. Chen smiled, and Zara noticed that his eyes seemed brighter than usual. That's the most wonderful thing I've ever heard. Commander Hayes looked less pleased. This sets a dangerous precedent. We can't have individuals making decisions that affect entire species. Why not? Dr. Chen asked. Zara is the one who took the risks. She's the one who succeeded. She should be the one to decide how her success is used. As the day ended, Zara found herself in the observation deck again. This time she wasn't alone. Dr. Chen was with her, and they were talking about the future, in a way that made her skin glow with possibilities she had never imagined. Are you sure about this? He asked. Choosing to stay here, to work between both worlds? It won't be easy. Nothing worthwhile ever is, Zara replied, her skin showing the steady, confident purple of someone who had found their purpose. For the first time since her diagnosis, Zara felt like she wasn't just surviving. She was building something new, something that could change the future for both her people and the humans who had saved her. The treatment had given her more than fertility. It had given her a mission. 6 months later, Zara stood in a place she had never imagined she would see. The colony world of Haven was unlike both Earth and Altara, but it had become more of a home to her than anywhere else in the galaxy. The sky was a soft green color, and the trees grew in spirals that reminded her of the crystal formations from her home world. Dr. Chen was beside her, working on their latest research project. They had established a medical facility here that served beings from dozens of different worlds. The treatment that had saved Zara's life was now helping others, but it had also led to discoveries that neither of them had expected. The latest results from the Centauri patient are remarkable, Dr. Chen said, looking up from his tablet. The treatment is working even better than we hoped. Zara's skin glowed with satisfaction. Each species responds differently, but the basic principles remain the same. Hope and healing can cross any boundary. Their facility had become famous throughout the galaxy. Beings from worlds that had never spoken to each other before came here seeking help. The treatment had evolved beyond just fertility restoration. It had become a way to help different species understand and heal each other. But the most amazing discovery was still growing inside Zara herself. 3 weeks ago, she had felt different. Not sick, but changed in a way that made her skin shimmer with colors she had never displayed before. When they ran the tests, the results had shocked everyone. I still can't believe it, Dr. Chen said, gently placing his hand on her slightly rounded belly. A hybrid child, the first of its kind. Zara covered his hand with hers, feeling the gentle movements of the life growing within her. Our child will be something completely new. A bridge between our worlds in the most literal sense. The baby was developing unlike anything in the medical records. It had characteristics of both species, but was clearly something entirely unique. Zara's skin patterns had changed to accommodate the new life, creating swirling designs that seemed to pulse. With the baby's heartbeat, "Are you scared?" Dr. Chen asked softly. "Every day," Zara admitted. "But I'm also excited. This child will grow up in a world where differences are celebrated, not feared." News of the pregnancy had spread across the galaxy, causing excitement and concern in equal measure. Some people saw it as proof that the treatment was dangerous, while others viewed it as the next step in galactic evolution. Elder Nyx had visited the previous month, her skin showing a mixture of wonder and worry. "The child will be beautiful," she had said. "But what kind of life will it have? Neither fully Altarian nor fully human." "It will have the best of both worlds," Zara had replied, "and the freedom to choose its own path." The human authorities had been similarly mixed in their reactions. Some wanted to study the child extensively, while others worried about the implications for human society. Dr. Chen had firmly refused all requests that would treat their child as a research subject. "This baby is our son or daughter first," he had told Commander Hayes. "Any scientific value is secondary to that." As Zara's pregnancy progressed, something wonderful began happening. Couples from different worlds started coming to Haven, not just for medical treatment, but to build relationships. The colony became a place where love could cross species boundaries. Dr. Rivera and Dr. Thompson had both relocated to Haven permanently, bringing their families with them. The colony was growing into something none of them had planned, but all of them cherished. "Remember when you first arrived at the station?" Dr. Chen asked one evening, as they watched the sunset paint the green sky in shades of gold. "I was so scared," Zara laughed, her skin showing the warm colors of happy memories. "You seemed so strange and small. Couldn't understand how you could help me. And now I know that the size of someone's heart matters more than the size of their body," Zara replied, leaning against him. Their relationship had grown naturally over the months. What had started as a professional partnership had become friendship, then something deeper. They had fallen in love slowly, carefully, building trust and understanding across the vast differences between their species. "The Council wants us to present our findings at the Galactic Medical Conference," Dr. Chen said. "They want to establish treatment centers on a dozen worlds." Zara's skin brightened with excitement. "That means thousands of people could be helped. People who thought they had no hope, just like you did, just like I did," she agreed. The next morning brought unexpected visitors. A ship from Altara landed at their facility, carrying not just Elder Nyx, but Zara's mother.
Ally.
It was the first time they had seen each other since Zara had left for the experimental treatment. Lyra's skin was cycling through every color of joy and amazement as she embraced her daughter. "You're glowing," she said, tears streaming down her face. "You're actually glowing." "The treatment worked, Mother," Zara said, her own skin blazing with happiness. Everything worked. Lyra stepped back to look at her daughter's changed appearance, then at Dr. Chen, who was standing nearby with a nervous expression. "So this is the human who saved my daughter," Lyra said, studying him carefully. "I helped," Dr. Chen replied modestly, but Zara saved herself by being brave enough to try. Lyra's skin showed approval. "Anyone who can make my daughter shine like this is welcome in our family." Over the following days, more visitors arrived. Zara's friends from Altara, colleagues from the research station, and even some of the officials who had originally opposed the treatment. They all wanted to see the results for themselves. The most moving moment came when a young Altarian woman arrived, suffering from the same fertility condition that had once afflicted Zara. Her skin was the same dull, lifeless color that Zara remembered from her darkest days. "Can you really help me?" woman asked, hope and fear warring in her voice. "Yes," Zara said firmly, taking her hands. "We can help you, and more importantly, you can help yourself." As they began the treatment process for the new patient, Zara felt a deep sense of completion. The scared, hopeless woman who had left Altora months ago was gone, replaced by someone who had found her purpose in helping others. "The baby's moving," Dr. Chen said suddenly, placing his hand on Zara's belly. Zara's skin lit up with patterns that seemed to dance in response to the movement. "I think it knows we're talking about helping people. Maybe that's what it was meant to do." "What do you mean?" "Maybe our child isn't just a bridge between our species," Zara said thoughtfully. "Maybe it's meant to be a bridge between all species. A symbol of what's possible when we choose cooperation over fear." Dr. Chen smiled, his eyes bright with love and wonder. "That's a lot of responsibility for someone who isn't even born yet." "The best leaders are the ones who are born into responsibility," Zara replied. "Besides, it won't be carrying that burden alone. It will have both of us and everyone here who believes in what we're building." As the sun set over Haven, painting the sky in colors that reminded Zara of her own skin patterns. She felt a deep sense of peace. The treatment had given her more than just fertility. It had given her a future she could never have imagined. The scared, infertile woman who had left Altara was gone. In her place was a healer, a bridge builder, and soon, a mother. The journey that had started with despair had led to hope, love, and the promise of a new generation that would know no boundaries between worlds. Zara looked at Dr. Chen, then at her growing family of colleagues and friends, and finally at the stars beginning to appear in the darkening sky. Somewhere among those stars were worlds full of people who needed hope. She was ready to help them find it. The treatment was complete, but the real work was just beginning.